Ali, I'm going to start with you. Always the ladies first. You come from a film family and have achieved everything at such a young age. Today, at 24, is it too good too soon as a phenomena, you think?
Firstly, good evening, everyone. I know my father will be very proud of me because I'm in a very intelligent room and in a very intelligent space and an intelligent hotel for today. But I have to say that whenever people ask me about my achievements, Karan, about how you're doing so well, how do you feel, you're doing this, you're doing that, to me, I'm just doing. I have no idea of how well I'm doing and what that means for me and whether this is too good too soon or whether I'm going to burn out. I think that if I sit back and assess every step I take, then I'm going to be taking myself way too seriously. All I want to do is give a lot of heart into all my performances, into every character that I play. And I want to be remembered for the movies that I'm a part of and the characters that I play, because that's the kind of impact movies had on me as a child. So I want to be I want to be that impact on the younger generation and the older generation and everybody. So yeah, I never look at myself as a third person. I'm just going with the flow, as they say.
And Kavan, do you feel the same? Do you feel the same, or did you at all? Does it bother you, affect you, get to you, and do you have vulnerable moments?
So I think definitely initially I was very vulnerable, and I was also very hungry to prove and make a point. And I want to say with age, but I don't think I should say that since I'm 24. But maybe with experience and just, as you said, I've been working since I'm 17. But in the last 2 years, there just came a bit of a realization to me, and that is the only constant in life is change. So today, I may be getting a lot of love, tomorrow I won't, maybe. Today, I may be getting a lot of hate, tomorrow I won't, maybe. So some things are like, some days you may wake up and say that, okay, I wish I'm being better at this, or I have a better, I had better diction, I had better this. I can always talk about what I don't have and what what I can do better. But instead of whining about how they're comparing me to people, I can just better it.
Right.
And I can just try to be the better version of myself.
In a sense, Ram, I say that in a good way, because most spiritual teachings teach you the art of detachment. How detached are you from trappings that surround you? And does risks come into that play because you're so detached?
Actually, yeah, I totally agree with Kavan, because that's what I meant earlier by saying that change is the only constant. If I get so attached to the kind of films that people are liking, say if people like Highway and they liked Urta Punjab, that means I only do those kind of films. I don't do any kind of cinema, because obviously they like it, when they like it when I'm getting, when I'm in tough situations, or when I'm looking not like myself, or I'm just like really having a really hard time.
You have done series of dysfunctional work.
I have.
And not that your work is dysfunctional, the characters have
yeah.
been.
But then that wouldn't make me probably take a risk and do Badrinath Ki Dulhania, which is till date my highest grossing film.
Yeah.
So definitely I'm super detached from my work, and I don't want to get too attached to even the person that I am today. When people come up to me and say, you're so inspiring and all of those things, and what I do for other people, I feel really happy, I feel grateful. I take a moment to remember that, okay, this is what you really work for, to make an impact. But then that instantly I just like snap out of it, and I just tell myself that this is not going to be there tomorrow.
And as a young Indian woman, Alia, is there a sense of responsibility you have to your country, to other women who are inspired by you, to younger girls, who feel like, you are their role model? How much of that ethos really creeps into your thoughts when you take on a film or, are on a public platform? How much of that are you conscious of?
So when I take on a film, I don't keep the audience in mind, and I don't think I should as well, because then that would make my decisions very calculated and very boring. I go with my gut and I go with my heart. So that's the way I choose my films. But when I'm on a public platform, I have made mistakes and all in the past on public platforms.
Really, when? When was that?
Well,
But
that was a while ago. In fact, Ram walked in. We were in the room. I have to share this with you, and it's always very embarrassing
No,
for
you
Alia.
don't
But
have
it
to share
but Ram just watched her episode of Coffee with Karan that made Alia Bhatt quite famous, actually, when she had a little bit of a blip there. Ram, that was very, very wonderful that you
I'm
actually did
sorry,
your
what
research.
was the blip? I'm not aware.
No, we're not going to go
you
there.
are. As I was saying, I actually take key from that, and I like to promote the idea of people can make mistakes. That is okay. And as a celebrity, I'm still a human being, and I don't have the answer to everything. I don't know. Like right now, I'm like looking at you like, and I'm
Who the
looking
hell
like,
is he is what you're thinking.
I know nothing. I know what I do, and I really am not embarrassed of that, because if I don't say I don't know, how am I going to know? Like if I don't ask the questions, how am I going to get the answers? So yeah, I don't know why am I making this point? What were we talking about?
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. You
So
were just
basically,
saying
yes,
how
I'm
it's
detached
important.
and I take risks. And yes, I find it very important to be a responsible public speaker. And for me, many women, many actresses, many public figures have been inspiring as women to me. Like whether it's Deepika coming out and talking about her depression, whether it's Kajol, who's always made such interesting film choices. I've always looked up at women and taken inspiration from them. So I hope to also be that way for some younger girls someday.
But Karan, you have to give it to the girl because she actually had it in herself after making a small mistake. She actually had it in herself to laugh at herself. I think
She did.
That really deserves a round of applause.
She
honestly.
did because
Honestly, it does.
Alia went on. In fact, you should have a look at it. She went for All India with AIB, and
It's called Genius of the Year.
I was going to say what the whole form of AIB is, and I thought that would be politically incorrect. But AIB did this whole, this whole take on how Alia made that big blip, and it was really sporting of her actually to go ahead and do that. Not very many people take that kind of situation on their chin, and so yes, bravo, well done. If you had to Ram, when you have someone like Alia, not because she's a movie actor, not because of, she represents the youth in so many ways, and if you were to ask her a question about just way of thinking, is there a question that you have that could be relevant to just the people that surround you? What would that question be?
To Alia Bhatt?
Yes, not to her specifically, just someone who represents the youth in the way that she does.
Well, absolutely. I think. I have two young children.
All right.
I have a son who's 12 and I have a daughter who's 8. And what's with the fascination of these new age gadgets? They're really hike messengers and all the movies and iPads. These are all kind of bringing in. I thought technology was all about simplifying our lives. It's complicating it. So what's with that? That's the question I want to ask.
This question is definitely for
the next
Alia.
generation, the younger generation.
Firstly, I have to say that I totally agree with you.
Okay.
Because I'm probably the most, and I have to say this correctly, technologically challenged person in this room. And I also believe that today, whether it's the Facebook or Twitter, I think it's the reason it brought us together, it's the same reason why it's kind of tearing us apart with the trolls and the hatred and all of that. So I actually am seeing today a very negative side to social media than I was probably when I started using it initially. I'm not talking about Hike Messenger. Hike Messenger rocks, guys. You should all have it on your phone. But
It's an endorsement.
Yeah, and that's for free. It's done.
yeah, but I mean, I'm not the most technologically savvy person. I'm pretty basic.
No, I think what Ram meant is the constant time spent on social media. It used to be conversations, it used to be analysis, it used to be discussions. Now it's all about opinions that you're putting down, not having those one-on-one conversations anymore. Somewhere I think emotions have taken a beating. Romance definitely has. It's just been replaced by everything that social media operates within. I think that was where he was going with his
yeah,
question.
but I'm also okay, I'm on my phone and all on Instagram and all. I'm quite addicted to that, but I make it a point when I'm on set and I'm working, I don't look at my phone. I only check it when I'm done from work. And if I'm spending time with my friends, we have a rule, we put all the phones together in one circle and say, okay, nobody touch your phone. So I mean, I'm doing my bit. Are you?
Alia, your dad called.
Alia, with so much talk about the international domain and actors moving, going beyond our boundaries, working out of the country, making a place for them, and then there's so much talk about globalization, and there's a synergy of what I'm going to ask you. Is there an aspiration to go beyond your national audience for you?
I mean, yes. I mean, I have aspirations to be the most loved actor in the universe, if that's possible. So definitely I would like to go, even if they send me to the moon, I would. But as of now, honestly, my main focus is to, and not only as myself as an actor, but to just make sure that the Indian film industry is thriving, like should thrive right now in the next 5 years, 10 years. Because what's really bothering me right now is the fact that people aren't going to the theaters as much. But it's also a very interesting time for Indian movies because right now, truly content is king. So the focus for us as an industry is to put out the best content right now, and so that the people just come to the theaters and, you know, they don't watch movies on their phones and pirated versions and all of that. So that's my main focus as a part of the Indian film industry.
And before we open the questions to the house, we did this exercise in the morning, and I'd love to repeat it with the three of you. Is that one word that comes to your mind when we think of the country we're at today?
India?
Yeah. One word, and you could explain why.
One word, India. I think hope. Hope. I have a lot of hope for this country. I do believe that our potential is just being, we are, like I said, you know, we're at the point of inflection. So I just have the belief and hope that this is going to be one of the greatest nations ever. And we're at that point where we have all the ingredients ready, and we're just about to take off.
Hope. Right. Kavin.
The one that comes to top of mind is bold. I think this country is bold.
Okay.
I think the leadership at the front is bold.
Okay.
I think
That's the word.
that. Yeah.
All right. Alia?
It's one of my favorite words, fire. I feel like we have the ability to keep burning and to really, really spread the light.
Lovely. Well, we have hope, fire, and bold as the word for the state where we're at, the condition we're at. Ladies and gentlemen, Ram, Alia, and Kavin are now open to all of you. Could you please, if you have questions, state who you are, publication you're from perhaps, and what your question is. Yes, ma'am. We're going to circulate the mic.
Hello everyone, I'm Sugandha Munshi and I'm a global shaper with World Economic Forum, and I work in the state of Bihar. I work with women farmers. So my question to the panel is that the present country which you all have defined is wonderful word, bold, fire and hope. How do you think at the grassroots of the India, all the efforts you guys are making in different industry is going to contribute more in coming decades?
Ram, you want to take that?
Yeah. The huge divide in India. I'm glad you're working in Bihar, and I'm glad you're trying to bring about that difference. In fact, one of the things I wanted to touch upon, and I keep saying this every so often, whenever I meet an inward-looking investor into India, a lot of times, you know, a common mistake people make when they're looking to invest in India is, and when they're looking toward India, in fact, is that they judge India through the prism of a World Bank report or a consultant report. And they make this oversimplified comparison between India and China. I keep telling a lot of these people, and I'm going to say the same thing to you now. China is a country. India is not. For all practical purposes, we are United States of India. India is a very heterogeneous country. Everything changes every 150 kilometers. The language, the cuisine, the culture, the habits, the literacy levels, the poverty levels, everything is so vastly different every 150 kilometers. You're absolutely right. Whatever this trickle-down effect that governments are trying to achieve in terms of good policies, in terms of good initiatives, unless it goes all the way right down to the grassroots, things are not going to change that quick. But India does not have an option. Like I was saying, we cannot wait for the next 25 years to become another China or become another emerged nation, a second world or the first world nation. We do not have an option but to leverage technology. We do not have an option but to leverage human resources. We also have to learn from the experience of others, other countries that have done very well in the last 15, 20, or 30 years. And we do not have the luxury of leapfrogging. We have to pole vault. We really have to ensure that our grassroots, people at the grassroots, get all the benefits in the form of DBT, in the form of whatever other mechanisms that all good technologies provide today, and disrupt the legacy processes, come out with newer ideas, come out with path-breaking ideas, and go right to the grassroots to get basics, infrastructure, drinking water, water for irrigation, power. There are still 70 years after independence. There are still thousands of villages in India which are languishing without power. On the one hand, we say that India as a country is power surplus, but there are still thousands of villages which do not have power. So unless this radical change is brought about by disrupting, because we talk about startups every single day, we talk about disruption every single day. We have to have disruption in governance, we have to have disruption in the way we work, we have to also have disruption in the way we function on a day-to-day basis as a government. Only then. Once upon a time, Rajiv Gandhi famously said, 1 rupee starting in Delhi, by the time it goes to a common man in a village, it's only 15 paisa or 12 paisa. That has to change. Unless that changes, this whole hope, this whole theme of hope I talked about is not going to come about very, very quickly.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, we have lots of questions.
All of them are to Alia, I'm pretty sure.
Right, the front row there. Thank you. The lady in pink first.
Thank you so much, Karan. Hi, I'm Deeksha. I'm a global shaper from Dehradun, and I'm also a Teach for India fellow. My question is for Alia Bhatt. Like you mentioned that it gets too overwhelming at times, being a 24-year-old and getting so many opportunities. I relate to it. I'm 22, so it happens with me as well. And especially with the internet rolling out so many opportunities. I just want to ask, does detachment from your work help you in making better decisions?
I don't know about better decisions because actually I'm very emotional and passionate about my work as well. But I'll tell you something, there was up until a particular time I was constantly scared. And that was the time before I had failed. I've done 10 films and usme se one has been not a good film and it did not do well. Until that time, I was always really scared, very passionate, very like obsessive. The minute that happened, it's like my father told me, I became a mortal again. So when you touch success, you feel like you're immortal all of a sudden. And that could happen to anybody, which is why people are constantly telling me, please, keep your head on your shoulders, don't fly too high. And I was like, what are they saying? Why are they saying this? And then I realized that, okay, things can change, your films cannot do well, you cannot do well. And suddenly everything changed after that. And I was just brought back to ground zero. And everything after that is not, I would not say detached, like I'm not passionate about my work and I don't feel like today if I don't have a good day at work, I'll come back home and I will be stressed out about it. I won't be happy and I'll give 200% the next day. But I can say I'm quite objective of the work that I do. And I go with my gut and I try to play around. So if I overthink my steps, then it's like, you're taking yourself too seriously and that'll show on the screen, okay, she thinks she's a very good actor. But the minute I really, really believe in my part and my character, that just gives me that kind of ease to play with it and just, have fun with it.
Keep doing different kinds of works. I work for women's health, and I want to ask this question where, at a certain age, you are in the peak of your career, and you get opportunities and offers to endorse brands and stuff like that. What we have seen in past that, especially the female actors who are in the industry, they cross some stage and then they start endorsing the social causes and the brands. Do you get such offers to, let's say, endorse brands like which are socially connected, which are, let's say, women's health, or let's say sanitation and so on? Or I know, we see you endorsing different brands, and obviously they are for the young generation. But the kind of work that I do, that female ask questions online to the doctors and counselors, and there is a brand, and I would like to, aspire for you to have a brand ambassador one day to my brand. So, do you get such offers, and do your
Endorsement right now.
That was
I
more
can't.
an offer than a question, but anyway. Will you endorse his brand?
No, at this age, at the peak of your career, and do you get such offers? And will
For
you
what? Social?
social causes?
Social causes.
Women's health is still unfortunately looked upon as a social cause.
Yeah, but it should not be. It's not a cause. It's health. So, no. I don't think an age... of course, yes, the brands that I do have to have, or at least for me, they have to, be an extension of my personality or an extension of maybe what I represent. But I'm not somebody who feels that women's health or even saying the word sanitary napkin is a taboo. I don't feel that way. And for me, a social cause, in fact, should not be an endorsement. In fact, I have started an initiative called Coexist, which is, to do with animals and planet, and about man and animals should coexist in our current, environment and ecosystem. So I will, in fact, at any age, try to take up a cause that is very, very close to my heart. And if you want to offer me an endorsement, my manager is sitting right there. I can give you her number.
Yes, sir.